G'day everyone, I am the man called Kemosabe, the man with the plan from the land down under, and I'm creating a comic. The Company Men, Dead, White and Blue is a 60-page full-colour comic about a CIA-run metahuman strike force burned by their own agency while operating in the Middle East, and they fight to clear their name and stop an imminent terrorist attack. This comic is the first issue of an exciting, action-packed new IP that mixes the action of Suicide Squad with the intrigue of Homeland, Body of Lies and Copra. With art by some of the best indie talent in South America, and a script by me, this comic promises to be the breakout hit of 2021. The sign-up page link for the campaign is in the description below. Backers who sign up go in the running for the chance to win original art pages from the comic itself. I hope you'll be motivated to join me on this journey, to trust me with a portion of your time, your money, and in return, I'll make the best comic book I can, in the hope it entertains you in a way modern comics so often fail to do. G'day everyone, I am the man called Kemosabe, the man with a plan from the land down under, and this is my review of Hellfighter Quin by Jay Sandlin and Atagun Ilhan. I saw this book on Twitter and the cover and title caught my attention. For first impressions, that's all you have to work with. An impactful, memorable cover image and a title that is interesting. Something that makes you want to know more. Hellfighter made me think of Hell's Kitchen, which gave the cover, which already has a street-level ordinary man fighting crime with his fists look, a real daredevil feel. The art and the colours looked good. I was intrigued. I wanted to know more. This was early in 2020 and I just started on Twitter. I wasn't sure how it all worked, but I wanted to offer some support and positive vibes to the creator. This guy, Manny Castellanos, was offering PDFs of the first 2 issues to reviewers. I didn't have any reviews under my belt at the time, so I felt a little cheeky to ask for free comics. So instead I tweeted out, "I'm no reviewer, but it looks great. I'll be keeping an eye on this title." Manny, who is the director of sales for Mad Cave Studios, the publishers of Hellfighter Quin, advised me the book would be available for purchase at local comic book stores soon. I informed him regretfully that my local comic shop of more than 17 years had just closed down and gone out of business. When I talked to the owner of the store, a guy who started as a casual staff member there decades ago and bought the store from the original owner to keep it running, he said he couldn't sell enough monthlies to keep the shop going. He was as liberal a guy as I ever knew, but even he admitted the identity politics was turning people away from comics. The guy was in tears. He'd done this for more than 20 years and now his business had gone under. I explained this to Manny in an additional tweet. My local store was forced to close due to unsaleable floppy spam and forced identity politics in comics. The nearest comic shop is now 3 hours away in a capital city. I hope they carry your book and you meet with success. In response, Manny tweeted, nothing. He blocked me. Legend says I'm blocked to this day. Great customer relations there, mate. Pretty sure this is my 2nd or 3rd tweet I ever put out. No wonder I'm Comicsgate. No surprise, I never ended up buying the book. Manny is no Dan Slott, but this is like a crash course in what not to do. Blocking me was a statement. I wasn't trolling, I wasn't spamming them with rhetoric, I was stating some facts as they'd been relayed to me by someone who experienced the events firsthand. If the guy doing the books for a business can't comment on why that business went bust, who can? Manny blocked me as punishment for stepping out of line of the hive mind. He did it to stand in solidarity with the other publishers guilty of these practices, of crowding the shelf and substituting story for agenda, and abusing the fans when they complained. Last week I saw the trade paperback of Hellfighter Quin was on sale on Comixology for $7 and here we are. As usual, we'll take a look at the story and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this comic. Manny, feel free to unblock me anytime you want now. I've talked before about the opening page of a comic, how it should grab the reader's attention, how it should drop them right in the action, even if it's verbal or social action. There should be conflict, there should be high stakes. Claremont-esque slow pans across the city or the gradual rising of the sun should be avoided. Sometimes it really is the best option and it harkens back to the opening of movies and can lend your comic a cinematic feel, but I usually prefer some in-your-face action. Something that helps brand the story, that shows you the identity, pedigree and colour of the story. Hellfighter Quin begins with a Space Caesar-looking guy punching a hole in another guy who looks like he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. The narration boxes give us information about the world, but it's an implicit, slow burn kind of way. The way where the author is building a story around you as you read the book. No blocks of text, no staggered jumble of narration boxes or whatever the hell Bendis thinks this is. We learn there are 5 clans, they thirst for power. The narrator became the titular Hellfighter to protect his neighbourhood from doom. Then, very cleverly, the last narration box does that record scratch, I bet you're wondering how I got here bit, which makes you think that maybe the narrator is the guy dead or dying on the ground, and we jump back in time in the story. Quin is training kids in a boxing gym when he sees someone impersonating his old vigilante identity. He recognises the fighting style as belonging to Tyrell. It's not clear if he's a friend, student or relative at this point. Quin finds Tyrell has taken his costume and his invitation to the tribunal. He rushes off and confronts a hobo, demanding magical access to the tribunal. He is granted it and lands amidst the opening scene. He demands to fight the man who maimed Tyrell. Tyrell hands over Quin's mask and then dies. Quin is entered into the contest as the real Hellfighter and has to fight Myrmidon to proceed. I thought this page was going to be the last one of the issue. I'm so conditioned to Big Two books being full of talk, fluff and filler. I just assumed they'd end this issue on an about to clash pin-up, but there's another 10 pages after this. There is a very excellent fight scene between the two warriors, ending with the Hellfighter victorious. Quin gives a speech about how oppressed his people, the clanless, are, as the Queen clan holds the power of the Azure Moon and doesn't share it amongst the other clans. Quin is sent to the labyrinth where he sees the shadowy figure that was observing him back in the subway. Whoever this person is, they also have the ability to travel between worlds. Quin follows the mysterious figure into an ambush, but before he can defend himself, his attackers are slain by Sensei Deadeye and his student. The issue ends with Quin facing off with the two warriors. The trade paperback has 5 issues contained within it, but this review will only look at the first. I liked issue 1 enough that I would recommend purchasing this title, so I won't spoil the rest of the story. Even many Castellanos can't make me hate this book. This is a good issue, a solid first issue that ensures you want to read more. It gives you enough information to form some theories about the world it depicts, but not enough to know for sure. It teases you with enough interesting tidbits that you want to know the whole picture. None of it is wholly original, but that's okay. There is nothing new under the sun, a wise man was once quoted. Another said, it's what you do with the idea, not the idea itself. Yeah, this is Black Daredevil crossed with Brubaker's Immortal Iron Fist tournament storyline, but in what world is that possibly a bad thing? There is some great art and some nice flow to the first fight. The splash pages are bloody and colourful and in your face. All this book is missing is an appropriately retro hip-hop soundtrack. This comic would make one hell of a TV show or even a video game. It has a great look, a clear, strong identity that is bankable and marketable. The character has enough visual style and attitude to resound with audiences, particularly young men, and he has agency and drive. When confronted with obstacles, he runs straight into the action. No hesitation, no hand-wringing. He is assured of his righteousness and his ability to deal with the situation, and this is backed up by action in later pages. Most of my gripes with the book come down to personal preference and individual perceptions. What I dislike, others might not have a problem with, which is fine, but this is my review, so
hold on to your butts.
The book jumps right into the action, which is great. But Quin's motivation, the death of his best student at the hands of the Queen clan champion, doesn't have the emotional impact it should have had. I've only been introduced to these characters 2 pages ago. It works mechanically, and I do appreciate the ballsiness of starting right where the action kicks off, but I think with a little tweaking of dialogue, an extra page or 2 showing some elements of Tyrell and Quin's relationship, and we'd care more about the former dying. This harkens back to the motivation mechanism I've talked about before. A loved one who dies early on to galvanise the protagonist. We understand it mechanically, it's a cog in the machine that is story, that is plot, but it's unsatisfying. It suffices, and so, since we're unlikely to get more pages in future issues detailing Tyrell and Quin's mentor-teacher relationship, it will have to do. I found the early swearing to be confronting. Not that I was offended, but I guess I'm still surprised to see swearing in what style is essentially a superhero comic. I guess I shouldn't be, but Marvel and DC are a hell of a drug. The register of Quin's language is at odds with the way the other clan members talk. I think that this might have been a deliberate move, but it was very jarring. Maybe that was the point. You have dialogue like this, juxtaposed with this. It's either incredibly effective or incredibly off-putting. You decide. I guess it's disingenuous not to talk about the racial element. The book starts with a blonde-haired, blue-eyed space Caesar punching a hole through a young, dreadlocked black man's torso, standing over his corpse, dripping with his blood. Did Sandlin's script describe the fighter as white and blonde? Was it a deliberate move to have him as white European as possible and then kill a young black man? Is the cape and outfit a sly jab at the Superman archetype, a no-go at the Man of Steel himself, and then by proxy, all heroes descended from him, thematically or otherwise? Combined with the way the word clanless is used like the N-word to describe those outside the main clans, and it feels like there are some not-so-subtle racial subtext to the story. I guess only the writer can confirm or deny that, but a world where everything is examined through critical race theory is what they wanted, and it's the world they got. They've all spent so much time talking about race, I can't unsee it now, and it does reduce my ability to enjoy the story. I don't want identity politics in my stories, I want escapism and great action. At least this book gives me one of those. Myrmidon threatens to suck the marrow from Quin's bones, and Quin makes a Danny Glover Predator 2 joke. I don't know if this shows Quin's groundedness in our world or if he comes across as obnoxious in these instances. It feels like Quin's opponents, and I hesitate to call them bad guys until their motivations are better defined, at this point they're no worse than he is, are written to sound foppish and overwrought. He has been written as edgy and angry, so they look all the more foolish and he looks cool. It's a valid literary tool, but it felt a little on the nose to me. Quin cracks wise, taking shots at Myrmidon for being ugly, making Free Willy jokes and posturing about how he made a mistake facing the Hellfighter right after Tyrell died in his arms. I had a hard time believing Quin was really invested in Tyrell's death because of the jokes he made, the way he made them, the way he made this fight all about himself, the way he took the time to insult his opponent. I feel like it would have been more effective and more powerful if Quin had done the silent rage type thing, or just said, "I'm here to kill you, not talk about it," before launching into a scathing physical offensive. I also think they missed a hell of an opportunity to have Quin punch Myrmidon right through this pillar instead of going for the uppercut. Then there is this bit where Quin beats Myrmidon so bad his eyes busted out of his skull, his lower jaw is decimated, his spine is jelly, and then Quin jams the trident through his brain. Quin is declared winner by knockout. I don't know what constitutes a knockout in this world, but that guy is dead. Maybe there's some sort of regeneration protocol like Mortal Kombat must have, where fighters are returned to the state they were in before the match started. But if so, why would Quin be so mad that Tyrell was killed? As much as I like the lore that is being presented, there is a lot more that we need to know to get the full picture. I'm not sure who Quin's supposed to be. He beats Myrmidon to a pulp literally before impaling him while defenceless on his own weapon. He isn't coming across as very sympathetic here. Myrmidon did nothing aside from enter a fighting tournament. Maybe hero is the wrong word for Quin. Certainly it's not a word the comic itself uses at any point. This book is a great start to a title. You get action, you get a holy shit moment, you get a character in peril, you get enough info to make some early assumptions about the story, enough to have them either quickly confirmed or dismissed in the following pages. The register of the narration box makes it clear the flavour, the tone of the story. The narrator is speaking street. It and OG and They Don't Share Shit, Protect My Hood. It's pretty clear the protagonist, even if you hadn't seen the cover, is black. Pedoflix's Luke Cage was a black show. It featured majority black characters speaking black dialect, dealing with black problems and issues in a black neighbourhood. With that comes certain conventions. We can predict and be aware of them. When they are met, we get a little mental head pat from our brain for being right. It's a winning formula. More indie writers should look at this sort of opening as, if not the standard, then at least a regular tool in their tool belt. When people lament the downfall or the deterioration of American superhero comics and wish for comics to be better, I reckon this is an example of what they might want. The identity politics are a point of view, not the driving element of the narrative, and almost presented as a metaphor. It might get more heavy-handed in later issues, but for now it's noticeable but not quite obnoxious. This book has good art, plenty of action, characters with motivations and agency, and it hints at emerging subplots. This is a checklist of what to do right. Make sure you tick all of these before you send your script off to your artist. That brings us to the end of the video. Please consider liking and subscribing and signing up for the Company Men Dead, White and Blue for a chance to win original art pages from the comic itself. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Myrmidon threatens to suck the marrow from Quin's bone. Oh. Oh. When people lament the downfall or the deterioration,